If you've been thinking about getting serious with your money, like actually serious, now's the time. The Motley Fool is offering new members 50% off their iconic stock recommendation service, Stock Advisor. This is the same service that's crushed the market with recommendations that have returned 1,057% since inception, compared to the S&P 500's 180% over that same period. This isn't guesswork. The Motley Fool has a track record of finding companies before they become household names. So if you want to invest smarter and you like saving money while doing it, go to fool.com/listen to claim your 50% off discount off a 1-year term of Stock Advisor. Again, that's fool.com/listen. Returns of 1,057% are from the Motley Fool's product Stock Advisor and measured against S&P 500 returns of 180% as of July 10th, 2025. Past performance is not an indicator of future results. All investing involves a risk of loss. Individual investment results may vary.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Way Media. Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. I'm Father Malone, and the lady beside me, the one who arrived in the glowing 64 Chevy Malibu, is Miss Ripley Jean. How are you, baby? Oh, good. Let's do business. Yellow Jackets. It can piss up a rope. Meanwhile, over on the Xbox, the fucking Xenomorph is relentless, and I cannot sneak past him. If you haven't been checking out the main show, I urge you to do so. HP from Night Mr. Walters and I are currently engaged in Fusco Fest. That's a look at the works of screenwriter John Fusco. So far, we've gotten to Crossroads and Young Guns. Got those out for your listening pleasure. This Friday, we're doing Young Guns 2, and it is a blast. I urge you all to tune in then. Or, more business, if you want to hear it right now, head on over to patreon.com/FatherMalone. Subscribers get everything early and commercial-free, and you'll have my eternal gratitude. Sincerely, anyone paying to hear my nonsense is toppermost of the poppermost. And if you join the Patreon, you never have to hear me use that phrase again. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that film production companies' logos, like the Universal logo would come up, bump, bump. If the studio wants you to, you have to show that at the start of your film. But the filmmaker is under no obligation to use the production company's fanfare, which usually means you get a bit of wild sound from the feature, letting us know what the world sounds like before seeing it. Or, more likely, they just start the music, whether it's a score or soundtrack. Technically, you could just put ducks quacking or a clown car honking under the studio logos. I don't know why more filmmakers aren't doing it, considering every film now starts with 3 minutes of production logos. What's even better is then, after the logos end, we get 3 minutes of credits with the same goddamn logos, just in font form. You know what? Now that I'm starting to rant, what part of your movie is so inessential that you let the names of the filmmakers play over it? Seriously, if you haven't designed a credit sequence and are just letting credits play over action, what are we supposed to surmise there? One or the other isn't worth your time. No such worry with our first pick. It's Repo Man.
Meet Otto. He's a clean-cut kid in a dirty business. He repossesses cars. He's a Repo Man.
You gonna give me my car back, or do I gotta go to your house and shove your dog's head down the toilet?
His mission is to repossess a 64 Chevy, but hidden within its trunk
What you got in the trunk?
You don't want to look in there.
is the most important discovery in the history of our planet. Repo Man. It's a mystery.
Suppose you're thinking about a plate of shrimp. Suddenly somebody will say like plate or shrimp or plate of shrimp out of the blue, no explanation.
It's a comedy.
What are you doing? Don't do that!
It's a chase. It's the forces of law
Marlene, I'm on my coffee break.
against the representatives of discontented youth, against the finest minds in government.
I had a lobotomy in the end.
Lobotomy? Isn't that for loonies?
Not at all.
And they're all in pursuit of a 64 Chevy Malibu from who knows where.
Blam! Eyes melt, skin explodes, everybody dead.
Repo Man. The story of the ultimate repossession. Repo Man. Not just a job, it's an adventure.
The credits here are an early computerized map of the southwestern U.S. and the highways that twist and wend their ways west all the way to the bombed-out Edge City, California. It's not Los Angeles, it's Edge City. Before we go further, I have to tip my hat to writers Dick Rude and Alex Cox for their description of the title sequence in the script. It reads thusly, "Reveal the dread words, Repo Man." That's intoxicating. The writers reveal the film's title to the reader and reader only. That description isn't going on screen, but they want you to know that the title has horrible connotations. These are protagonists, not heroes. What protagonists? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to play Otto's introductory scene, which not only features Xander Schloss as his pal Kevin, who is at least a good argument for parallel thinking when it comes to Napoleon Dynamite. Not saying those guys ever saw one of the most popular cult films of all time before making their film, but I digress.
America's drinking 7-Up, and it sure feels right. Feeling lucky 7.
Kevin, stop singing, man.
Huh? What's a singing guy?
I'm standing right next to you and you're fucking singing. Cut it out.
Why so tense, guy?
Otto,
Mr. Humphreys.
you were late again this morning. Now, normally I'd let it go, but it's been brought to my attention that you're not paying attention to the way you space the cans. Many young men of your age in these uncertain times. Otto, are you paying attention to me?
Fuck you.
On rewatch, I realized that Otto's lame-o boss, he's wearing the exact same eyeglasses that I'm wearing right now. That's fucking sobering, and a little sad, and a little square. There's no doubt Emilio Estevez has always been my guy as far as up-and-comers making his dent in movies, as I'm really starting to pay attention to movies, and not just movies, but cinema, and punk rock, and cult flicks. This is 1984, man. I'd be seeing it a year later when I was entering teenagerdom, but if it was punk and fun and dancing on the fringes of culture, I was on fucking board. And here's a movie that's all those things. And a lead character that's just as fucked up and directionless as any of the lifers he ends up associating with. And at one point, Emilio Estevez sits by himself drinking a six-pack and singing TV Party by Black Flag. I love this fucking movie. Which lifers? Well, I'm glad you asked about them. Harry Dean Stanton. Is he the greatest character actor of all time? Yes. The end. And one of the reasons, a major fucking reason, this movie works as well as it does. Because if Harry Dean is taking this lunacy seriously, y'all better start doing the same. And not only is Bud a true goddamned American with a genuine code he lives by, he has some of the most quotable lines in film history.
So how much do I get paid? $25 a car?
Paid? You don't get paid. You kidding? You work on commission. That's better than being paid. Most cars you rip are worth $200 or $300. $50,000 Porsche might make you $5,000. Come on, dickhead. It helps if you dress like a detective, too. Detectives dress kind of square. People think this guy's a cop. You're gonna think you're packing something. They don't fuck with you so much.
Are you?
What?
Packing something.
An asshole gets killed for a car. The guys that make it are the guys that get in their cars at any time. Get in at 3 a.m., get up at 4. That's why there ain't a repo man I know that don't take speed.
Speed, huh? Jesus Christ. I never broke into a car, never hotwired a car, kid. I never broke into a trunk. I shall not cause harm to any vehicle nor the personal contents thereof, nor through inaction let that vehicle or the personal contents thereof come to harm. It's what I call the repo code, kid. Don't forget it. Etch it in your brain. Not many people got a code to live by anymore. Hey, look at that. Look at those assholes over there. Ordinary fucking people. I hate them. Me too.
What do you know?
See, an ordinary person spends his life avoiding tense situations. Repo Man spends his life getting into tense situations. Assholes. Let's go get a drink.
That last one's kind of a motto of mine. That's an aspect of outsider culture that never really gets explored in a mainstream way. It's the Jaws island philosophy. It's only an island from the water. Just so, we're only outsiders if we buy into your bullshit to begin with. Some of us think you're the outsiders, and no more so than the cadre of grizzled veterans at the repo office. Special shout out to Cy Richardson, who shows up in all of Alex Cox's movie and is always effortlessly cool. Except maybe for this one bit in Repo Man, where he happens to say one of the uncoolest things ever. How many times have you heard someone lay this one on you?
Do you like music?
Sure.
In that case, you're gonna love this. I was into these dudes before anybody. Partied with them all the time. Asked me to be the manager. I called bullshit on that. Manager the pop group? Hey, no job for no man.
Okay, cool. Sure you did, Cy. So the Repo Men are looking for this 64 Chevy Malibu that's been stolen out of Los Alamos. You know, where maybe the government has one of their facilities where they're keeping aliens under wraps from the populace. And in the trunk of that car, potentially, is an alien body. So the government's after it, and every repo company in L.A. is too. I mean, Edge City. That's the thread of a plot and the reason all the disparate strands of the narrative come together. But really, the film is an excuse to send Otto into more and more dangerous scenarios while being taught outre philosophy by the dregs of American society. It's really intoxicating. You know how, as you get older, when you revisit a favorite piece of fiction, you find yourself responding to different aspects. I'll give you the really facile example. When I was a teenager, I fully responded to Rorschach in The Watchmen. Then in my 20s and 30s, I really grew to identify, and I realize how horrible this sounds, with The Comedian. Of late, as I get closer to a century in age, Dr. Manhattan has his hooks in me. Well, as a kid, I found Harry Dean Stanton's furious outlook to be one of my own. But he's too earthbound. He's too The Comedian. There is a Dr. Manhattan equivalent in this film. That's Tracy Walters, and I kind of think he's a genius.
A lot of people don't realize what's really going on. They view life as a bunch of unconnected incidents and things. They don't realize that there's this, lattice of coincidence that lays on top of everything. I'll give you an example, show you what I mean. Suppose you're thinking about a plate of shrimp. Suddenly somebody will say, plate or shrimp or plate of shrimp out of the blue, no explanation. No point in looking for one either. It's all part of a cosmic unconsciousness.
You eat a lot of acid, Miller, back in the hippie days?
Okay, full disclosure, this film and Alex Cox's follow-up Sid and Nancy are about as formative to my young psyche as you can possibly imagine. When I moved to Los Angeles, I became fast friends with a young filmmaker named of C.M. Talkington. Friends is a hollow way to describe our relationship. He's been my big brother for fucking 30 years now. He made a flick called Love in a 45, the director of photography on which was a fella named Tom Richmond. I loved Tom beyond the beyond, one of the single coolest human beings I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Tom is no longer with us, so once again, fuck everything. But when I knew him, Tom shared a home with Alex Cox. Alex was forever in Europe, but the strange cinematic family that they all belonged to seemed to float in and out of that place. It was an odd circumstance, let me tell you. Going from essentially having my brain wired by art and then hanging out with the artists. I felt weirdly attuned, though. It's hard to describe. The first thing out of my mouth to Abby Wool was a marriage proposal. Abby was the co-writer of Sid and Nancy. Just between you and me and all the aging old crusty punks out there, Abby wrote that movie. She turned me down, but she did it really, really sweetly. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about Abby right now with Ripley's pick, H to the P.
Come and listen to a dog that's hip. Here we go, it's Rip's Picks, yeah!
Thank you, HP. We've got to figure out the audio equivalent of the thrill cam. Speaking of movies that are as indelible to me as, I don't know, what is, like Goonies for the rest of Gen X? Is that it? What's it for millennials? Cabin Boy? That's what those kids love, right? Awkward humor and puppets? Oh, wait a minute. Was Chris Elliott the father of postmodern comedy? That's worth exploring, though not by me. I love Chris Elliott, don't get me wrong, but something we should all agree on. His greatest achievement is his daughter, Abby Elliott. But we're not talking about Abby Elliott, though there would be worse ways to spend a half hour. No, we're talking about Abby Wool. Already told you she, air quotes, co-wrote Sid and Nancy, a movie I've already covered on the Roundup. You should go back and listen to that right now. We'll wait. But by way of recap, Sid and Nancy is the most romantic film of all time. I want to go on, but I've already said enough. But you know what? No. This is the kind of romantic flick that it is. It's an early morning, and the world isn't awake yet, including your significant other, but it's like they've got their arms wrapped around you while you're watching that movie. Does that make sense? In no fucking way. Well, it doesn't matter, because Abby Wool's follow-up to that goddamned masterpiece is another minor miracle, her directing debut. Shot by Tom Richmond, starring John Doe of the absolutely seminal LA punk band X, and Adam Horovitz, also known as the King Ad Rock of the Beastie Boys. It's the most purely American movie of the 1990s. This is Roadside Prophets.
Somewhere between Barstow and Reno.
El Dorado.
Why do you want to go there anyway?
Because of this.
You selling drugs?
It's ashes. Met this guy. Joe Mosley.
Dave Coleman.
And he had the coolest ride. He just died.
On the bike?
No, playing some video game.
Wow, which one?
Sam and Joe are going to hit reality head on.
What do you guys do?
You ride.
Outlaws, huh?
I know how it is. Start out, you roll through a few stop signs. Remember Billy Idol?
What you want to be on the lookout for is transcendent reality. Seeing in, seeing out.
I want you to look around. Just look around. Tell me what you see. A whole society that's obsessed with feeling good and happy. Come on.
Why do you like sex?
I don't know. Because it feels good.
Free food for the poor!
Together, they'll discover that Motel 9 is a state of mind.
Man, there was no wrapping on one of my drinking glasses. There was no bath soap in my room.
But I...
And El Dorado ain't no Cadillac.
They got these fish up there called queewees or something. And when they get old, they get big. When they get big, they get feet.
John Doe, Adam Horovitz, David Carradine, Timothy Leary, Arlo Guthrie, and John Cusack. If you're going to think, don't drive.
I guess if you want to die in the vine with the Empire in decline, it's up to you.
Roadside Prophets, a film by Sid and Nancy's Abby Wool.
Who doesn't love a road trip? Weirdos and psychopaths. And not the good kind. Even agoraphobes love road trips. Where else can you really appreciate the forgotten art of the mixtape? Playlists can be a modern mixtape, but they've got to be curated and with love. There's a certain breed of barreling down the highway playlists that seem to merge with the moment and the company you're keeping, and it just feels like freedom personified. Geographically, I don't care where you are. Go on a road trip. Don't have a car? You have a friend who does. And they haven't seen you in a while, and it would be fun. But choose good surroundings. That's important. Now, this entire show is, in my humble opinion. So keep that in mind no matter what I say, even if it's something I like, or you like, or nobody likes. Now, having said that, you have never experienced the true majesty of a road trip until you've run from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. The trip in the opposite direction is thrilling for other reasons, but the trip we're talking about, from the Pacific Ocean, past thunderously green hills, through as urban a setting as you're likely to find in the United States, out through a mountainous outcropping and an honest-to-God pass. You have to ascend a pass to get to the high desert, where things just turn weird and arid. And away you go, and all civilization gives way to the desert, and then it's just you and the rubber and the road and the sky above and the music surrounding you. And at the end, carved out of the nothingness, is a city shining bright enough to bounce its light off the moon. Imagine doing that beside someone you adore. Such is the journey our heroes are on in Roadside Prophets. Joe befriends Dave, a guy at the refinery they both work at. Dave dies playing Dig Dug. That's a rough way to go. Even video game nerds have got to know the shame of a Dig Dug death. Joe knows nothing about the guy except he loved the town of Jackpot, Nevada, so Joe sets out to deliver his ashes there. Along the way, he's joined by a tag-along kid with no real direction, and they encounter those aforementioned prophets of the roadside. You heard their names in the trailer? By the way, Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, doing the trailer narration? From Sid and Nancy's Abbey Wool. Roll out! Joe and Sam encounter a dozen or so desert eccentrics. I mentioned the Americana of it all, traveling down a ribbon of highway and running into the likes of Arlo Guthrie, Timothy Leary, and David Carradine. Those guys are the 60s counterculture, and they deliver some appropriate philosophical musings in their scenes. It's the latter-day prophets of the roadside that are a little less well-known, but way more interesting and cynical. Particularly a couple played by Bill Cobbs from Hudsucker Proxy, and Lin Shaye, who's had a renaissance recently with the Insidious films. His character is dying of cancer, and hers AIDS. And they found each other and are living together in their desert home, making art and spending their remaining time together. There's a line from their scene that has stuck with me. It's Ad Rock's response.
Test site?
Where they test all the nuclear warheads. You must have driven right past it.
Put some sauce on it.
I grew up 30 miles from the test site. I was dying the minute I was born.
So's everybody.
So they are.
My favorite scene in the film takes place at a 50s diner. There were so many 50s diners in the late 80s. What the fuck was happening? To be fair, Cafe 50s in LA had a great burger. I know most of those have closed. Are there any of them left? Save me the trouble of Googling, listeners. Let me know there is still a Cafe 50s. One 50s diner that is definitely still in operation, and I think is the basis for the one seen in Roadside Prophets, can be found outside Calico Ghost Town in Yermo, California. It's Peggy Sue's. That is a sprawling diner where going back in time to the 50s wasn't enough. It's still all Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis inside, but the outside has become a mini Jurassic Park, with dozens of dinosaurs everywhere. I don't think anyone saw the thunder lizards coming, nor would anyone have guessed the gigantic ice cream cup that would spring up just a few miles distant. This is all true. There is a certain craziness to the high desert that has to be experienced to be believed. Also in the movie, Joe and Sam meet Casper, a Symbionese member played by John Cusack. Cusack starred in Tapeheads, produced by Michael Nesmith and Peter McCarthy, and McCarthy is the producer on this. Casper has my favorite joke in the film. As he lets Sam and Joe know that he's Symbionese, he winks conspiratorially. But Casper has an eye patch over one eye, and that's the eye he winks with. That ride from L.A. to Victorville to Baker to Vegas is a magnificent one, and it will deliver said craziness. But to get the real desert of oddity, you have to go north. North, Miss Tessmacher. Are there any fans of Superman 2 that don't think Miss Tessmacher after someone says north? You know you do. Just north of Las Vegas is where every town gets smaller and all the vistas get larger. It's where you will get lost in Red Rock canyons and you will find yourself dumbstruck at the sheer void in some places. And you'll run into towns like Ely, where you can have a damn fine steak while seated in an authentic jail cell from the 18th century. It was delicious and disconcerting. The higher you go, the more desolate the surroundings, and while I've never been to Antarctica, the pull to go there, for me, is the idea that for a brief time there'd be nothing but the land and you and whatever deity happens to exist. And you can get that feeling somewhere north of Lund, Nevada, places that make you realize how easy it would be for anyone to disappear completely. The border between Nevada and Idaho is where you find the actual town of Jackpot. It's where poor dead Dave's ashes are being delivered, and it's where our heroes are met with their final crushing defeats that the road trip has planned for them. Hey man, sometimes songs end in a minor key. It's not a sad ending in any way, though. Certainly not as somber as the ending of Easy Rider, the road trip from which all others must be measured. Fucking boomers. No, I take that back. Particularly because Peter Fonda is in my pal Cardi's film Love in a 45, playing a variation of his Captain America character from Easy Rider. And that's a good movie. Easy Rider and Love in a 45. But about Jackpot. It's a one-strip town. Like one-lane highway that speed zones you down to 15 miles an hour for about 1 mile. Like 1 mile with a few dozen buildings lining other side, the two main buildings being casinos with attached hotels on opposite sides of the road. It's as way station a town as you can get, and it's really just an excuse for Idaho people to come gamble or people going to Idaho to have at least one last good time. Do you know that the speed limit in parts of Idaho are 80 miles per hour? Even the highways know you want to leave. One time, I was coming back from a gig in Spokane, Washington. It was a full day's drive to get to Jackpot, where I had booked a room sight unseen. So I pull into the appropriate casino-hotel combo and schlep my way through the bitterly cold air. This was in November, I believe, and the wind out on those plains, fuck, man. So I go into the reception desk, and they inform me that the hotel is full, and I'll be across the street at their overflow. And I'm like, the other casino is your overflow? And he says, no, behind the casino. That's our overflow hotel. So I drive behind the other casino, which is the casino featured in Roadside Prophets. And there's this squat-looking hotel building. The parking lot is completely empty. There's a keycard entrance, but the wind is so violent that the hydraulic doors never get to close. As soon as the door gets whisper close to relocking, a gust of wind wrenches it open. And clearly, a door somewhere else is open because some of those violent gusts are coming from inside the building. So basically, anyone could be in there. Except staff. There's no staff at all. It's like a Romero film. Just abandoned apocalypse. That same wind is causing a door somewhere in the building to bang at irregular rhythms, the effect of which is to sound like someone running down a hall and getting closer. My stay in Jackpot, Nevada marked the only time I've ever shoved the hotel room's chest of drawers in front of the door. But it has a happy ending because I woke up after my 45 minutes of frenzied sleep, I was that scared, to find that the whole world had been blanketed in snow. It was gorgeous. And thus began a treacherous drive home over unplowed, snowy desert roads that made the previous night's fear seem like a day at Disneyland. Nothing like that happens to Sam and Joe. They find each other out in the desert. They find themselves and what's left of America, the oddball insular freaks and philosophies. You know, the stuff that makes this country actually great. No, not great. Cool. No country was ever great. But goddammit, we were cool. Yes, you are still cool yourself, little lady. All right, that will do it for this week's Roundup. Like I said, tune in on Friday. It's actually Thursday, don't tell anybody. For our look at Young Guns 2 in our continuing Fusco Fest. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to leave you with a bit of dialogue. Naturally, it's coming from, no, not Repo Man. Ha-ha! I actually like Roadside Prophets a little bit better.
Once upon a time, in ancient Rome, there was a band of gladiators. Now, you know, gladiators were all slaves. But these particular gladiators were utopian saints as well. This was during the decline. It's about 180 or so, A.D. These gladiators refused to perform their battles for the ruling class. Now, it didn't matter to them that they would be crucified or burned or shot with slings and arrows. They wouldn't die for sport.
They got killed anyway, though, didn't they?
Well, everybody dies. It's part of life. But these gladiators, they didn't waste their deaths. And maybe because they were martyred, or maybe because they were right, their convictions were passed down through the ages. They could see the truth, touch souls.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.